We are live. Golden Blue Dude live. It's going to be a good one tonight, guys. Check it out. I got the names written out, ready to draw. And I'll be talking to Brad Smith, the voice of MoTown. And during the interview, that will be your last chance of getting in on the Super Chat contest. Basically, what it is, every $5 that you donate to Golden Blue Dude through Super Chat is an entry. Got them written down. An entry to win a full-size helmet of whoever your favorite team is, plus the $50 gift from TriStateWhistCatch.com, sponsored by Jeff Grimm. So, yeah, it's a total value of the prize is around $400 because the helmet itself retails between $300 and $320 depending on what helmet you get, and then of course the $50. Excuse me, I just ate. And then of course the $50 prize from TriStateWhistCatch.com. So the total prize value is right in the neighborhood of $480, $485, something like that. So it's a good price, and I've already gotten the people's names that have already super chatted, ready to go. If you super chat during the interview with Brad Smith, hey, I'll write your name down and I'll add it to the hat. We'll do a live drawing right after the interview. So I'm pretty excited about this interview. The funny thing is, Brad Smith, the person that's coming on this show today, is he causes some friction a lot. Not even going to lie, he causes some friction. So it's going to be an interesting back and forth type of thing. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I think some of the best shows out there, are the ones that aren't just like agreeing with each other. You want somebody who you can disagree with, bounce stuff off, maybe learn something new from them. They learn something new from you. Something like that, Maybe it'll turn out to be like that. I don't know. Or maybe we'll just argue. Maybe we'll just start, no, you're wrong. No, you never know how these things will turn out. Reese Farrell, $1 super chat. Appreciate you, bud. If you can do 4 more of those $1, that's an entry, man. It's got to be $5 to be entered. But I do appreciate the $1 support. Seriously, 4 more of those, and that's your entry. We have a lot of fan bases in here. I see Michigan. I know there's a lot of West Virginia people in here. They're looking forward to this one. Either fans of or against Brad Smith. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's going to be a good one. So he'll be calling in here in about 6 minutes. So we heard that Justin Fuente, sorry, not a call-in show tonight, bud. Sorry. I got Brad Smith calling in. So earlier today, the news broke that I'll see what I can do for you, Reese. I'll see what I can't break those specific rules as far as the $5 entry. That would be breaking the rules. But I'll see what I can do because I do appreciate your support, and I don't want you to think that I'm, just ignoring you or whatever. I'm not. I know you're here a lot. You're very active, and I know that was your money. So I'll work something out with you. I promise. But earlier today, Virginia Tech fires Justin Fuente. Finally, I thought they should have fired him after last year. I thought it was kind of weird that they waited till after a win, which it was kind of explained that, they wanted to give him one more senior day with the seniors and, stuff like that. One last goodbye to all the players. I can understand that. But the writing was on the wall last year. Virginia Tech, the weird thing about Virginia Tech is they got Justin Fuente from Memphis, and Memphis was known to have a very, very dynamic offense under Justin Fuente. So it's very surprising that Virginia Tech's biggest weakness has been the offense. They actually have had a decent defense this year, top 30, 35, something like that. But their offense is horrific, barely in the top 100 when it comes to offense. So That's one of the big things that'll make you raise your eyebrow. Like the guy that they got for offense that was producing a ton of points, a ton of yardage at Memphis, couldn't come through for Virginia Tech. So it's just one of those things that it wasn't the right fit. And you almost saw the decline immediately. He went from 10 wins, I think it was down to 8 wins, had a little bit of a rebound season, but you could see the NITA was a steady decline right off the bat. So I think he'll land on his feet. He could get a job. I mean, there's a lot of job openings right now. I mean, if y'all watched my video earlier, you'll see there's a crap ton of job openings as far as the head coaching position goes. So, you know, he could land at, say, I don't know, in Akron. Now, Georgia Southern, they already picked up Clay Helton, so, you know, he can go to UMass and UConn. I don't know if he would settle for that. That'd be really bad. Akron would probably the best job out of those. But, I mean, there's others out there. Texas Tech is looking for a coach. TCU's looking for a coach. You know, he could fit in the Big 12. Could be a good fit for Texas Tech. I could definitely see Justin Fuente as the head coach for Texas Tech. But we'll see how that works out. And then on top of that, where does Virginia Tech go? First thing that's going to pop into our heads, Shane Beamer. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, his daddy, Frank Beamer, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. Definitely the best Virginia Tech college football coach. So, you know, maybe he could, you know, want to go to Virginia Tech and carry on his dad's legacy. I don't know. Or Virginia Tech might look elsewhere. Maybe a Hugh Freeze, who's at Liberty, and Lynchburg is only like, I don't know, 50, 60 miles away. That would be a huge move for Hugh Freeze, and he's done a great job at Liberty. He's gotten them into a conference. They're going into the Conference USA, I think, is the conference they're going into. I don't like that move for Liberty. I think Liberty should have gone to the Sun Belt. I think that would have been a much better fit for Liberty, but it is what it is. Still has accomplished a lot. So I think that would be a good hire for Virginia Tech. I really do. I know Hugh Freeze has some baggage, but I think he's more than paid his penance or his penalty. Brad, if you're listening, you can call in whenever you want to, man. I just wanted to make sure we're good and set up and introductions and everybody knew about the Super Chat contest and all that stuff. So whenever you want to call in, man, we're good to go. And yes, of course, my Pepsi every stinking time. Whenever, quick story about Brad, as far as it relates to me. Whenever I first started my YouTube channel, this was in 2019, Brad actually asked me to do some, like, you know, after game reports, like reactions, stuff like that. So I have, and it was for his Facebook group. So I have done some stuff for him. That was back in 2019. So we do have a little bit of a history between each other. We have mutual respect. I don't hate the guy. I disagree with him a lot, and he disagrees with me a lot. I mean, it happens. But as far as like actual hate, that's a strong word that a lot of people use, that I'm like, do you even know what you're saying? I mean, for you to actually hate somebody, you need to know them. It's not just you see what they're writing. Oh, I don't agree with that. He's trashing my university. I hate this guy. That's not how it works. That's not how hate works. Hate is pretty much the same thing as love. You can't love somebody that you've never met or that you don't know very well. That's, you know, you can't do that. So he does have a lot of heat, and he likes the heat. So it doesn't really bother him. So that's why I brought him on. Get a little heat up in this room and see where it goes from there. 7:10, man. Should be any minute. I'm excited about this one. I think this live show, as far as interview goes, probably right up there with Eugene Napoleon. That was a different type of interview, though. He's man, that guy. He's just an all-around, well-rounded person. Eugene Napoleon is a class act. I think this is him. We'll see. You are on Golden Blue Dude. How are you doing?
Good. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just trying to set you up and see where we go from here.
Yeah.
So, for people that aren't sure what you do and how to find you and all that stuff, go ahead and talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed it or not, man, but I didn't get the great introduction like Eugene Napoleon did. I listened to it a minute ago, and you were like, amazing author, accomplished human being, all around great human being. I need that, man. Can you give me that?
You write stuff. How about that?
Listen, Eugene Napoleon, nice enough guy, a little overrated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Coming with the heat right off the bat, man. Right off the bat. I hear you.
I mean, let me say this. 3 years at WVU, didn't get 1,000 yards. That's a little overrated. I mean, I wouldn't call him one of the all-time greats at WVU.
Well, I think the thing with that is the quarterback he was with, though. Major Harris took up a lot of those yards. I think if he would have had a quarterback that all they did was hand the ball off to him, he probably would have reached 1,000. So that one's a little debatable. I see where you're coming from, but the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at who his quarterback was, and Major Harris was a great dual threat quarterback.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I heard you compare me to Eugene Napoleon. Come on, man, I'm a much better guest than him.
I didn't even know I compared you to him. Well, I said the show. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I think the show, as far as entertainment value, will be right up there with the show with him. He's that dude. I'm telling you, he's a very well-rounded, smart individual. I was expecting, just the football mentality, and he did come with that. But man, it's so much more than that. So that's what surprised me about him is, how well-rounded of an individual he is. Have you done an interview with him? Have you talked to him?
Yeah, I've talked to him. I know him a little bit. I'm not, like I said, nice enough guy. A little overrated, I think.
Now, the thing with him now is he really likes to talk about his wife. He puts her above him as far as status goes and what he wants to talk about and, accomplishments and all that stuff. He makes sure that who he's married to, what she does, and what she's about to do. So I thought that was pretty cool of him. Not many guys do that as far as, lifting their wives up to that status. So I respect him for that as well. All right, so
yeah, he's a big time promoter. I have you seen his movie? Did you see his documentary?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty good. I think it's one of those documentaries where I need to watch it a couple more times to fully, actually see it, because it was kind of just, just seeing what it was about and all that stuff. So it really didn't stick all that much. So I'm going to go back and watch it probably 2 or 3 more times and see what I get out of it.
Yeah, I gave it 1 star, man.
Wait, not half a star? Not half a star, a full star?
There was 5 minutes, I'll go half a star. There was 5 minutes of him in the book exchange down there in Morgantown, buying a jersey, and it was 5 minutes of his documentary. I was like, what are we watching here? But anyway, enough about Eugene Napoleon. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. So the big thing that I want to talk about is the articles that you write. Now, we both know that they create a lot of controversy sometimes, okay? And you already know this. There's a lot of people, I say the word hate, but it's not real hate, because you can't really hate somebody unless I explained it before you came on. Hate is the same thing as love. You have to really know a person before you could actually say, hey, I love that person. Hey, I hate that person. So that word is, thrown around loosely. But that's the word that they use. I hate him. I dislike him. Trash, all that stuff. And it's because they disagree with what you write. It's amazing. I am amazed at how much heat you create. Is there something behind that, or did that just kind of happen organically?
Yeah, I mean, when you came at me on Twitter the other day, and you were saying like I'm just trying to stir the pot. Yeah, I'm trying to stir the pot, man.
Yeah.
Right now, in West Virginia, you shouldn't be happy with what's happening with the football program. You should be very displeased with it. And and for people to just kind of let it go and act like it's okay, it's not okay. This is West Virginia football is very, very meaningful for a lot of people in West Virginia. And I grew up as a West Virginia fan. West Virginia football and basketball is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And to see it kind of where it's at right now, I'm not okay with it. And I'm going to push as much as I can. And I have a pretty big pool now in the West Virginia, sub media or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it. I'm going to do whatever I can to improve.
Now,
to help improve the program.
The other day you mentioned roundabout how many eyeballs you reach maybe on a daily basis. How many would you say?
I have I mean, we have 50,000 followers on Facebook. We have 20,000 on Instagram. I just started Twitter not too long ago. So we have like 5 or 6,000 on Twitter. So,
right.
I mean, I reach a lot. I have, a lot of page views, obviously, every day.
Right. All right. So let me ask you this. Did you agree with West Virginia firing Dana Holgorsen? Are you one of those people that would rather have Dana Holgorsen over Neil Brown? I need to set the ground rules here so I know what I'm working with. Right now,
I would rather have what Dana Holgorsen produced later on at his time in West Virginia. Obviously Neil Brown seems like he's a better guy and, has accepted West Virginia a little bit more. I like the results Dana Holgorsen got. I think he made West Virginia football program exciting. I don't think the program at West Virginia right now is exciting at all under Neil Brown. He has this great recruiting class coming in next year. I got to be honest, man. I don't know why they would even come to West Virginia. Like, what are they seeing?
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of people are actually wondering, what is the plan that he's pitching? What is the pitch that Neil Brown is given to these athletes to attract a top 25 recruiting class? We haven't had that since, the Rich Rod era. So, yeah, I'd like to find out exactly what he's saying to the individuals and what type of plan is in place, because something that people don't realize about Neil Brown is he's very detail-oriented. Like, I've heard that the dude walked in, as far as his job interview to West Virginia, with a freaking notebook and a list, point by point, of what he wants to do at West Virginia. That's how detail-oriented. So that's why I'd be super interested to see what type of plan that is that he's pitching to the recruits. Now, the comparison or the difference that I see between Dana Holgorsen and Neil Brown, and I agree with you to a certain extent as far as, the product that we saw under Dana Holgorsen looked better later on. I do agree with that. However, he did build those with transfers, and it's hard to keep that going. And I believe, in 2018 or 2019, right before he left, that's why he asked for a raise, because he knew the amount of talent that he was losing from the 2018 West Virginia team, and he knew how much of a dip West Virginia was going to take. So, he's going to ask for a pay raise to have a little bit more stability. West Virginia said no, so he went on to Houston to make, some real good money. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think that Dana Holgorsen just said, no, thank you, I'm done with West Virginia, I'm sick of it here, I'm going to Houston. Now, I know he would prefer Houston, but he wanted to stay at West Virginia if he would have gotten a pay increase. Now, for Neil Brown, I think his plan is more laying the foundation year by year, so it's not going to be like this amazing product within 3 years, something like that. But what we are seeing is in this next year, we're having one of our all-time best recruiting classes. That's a good sign right now. I'm not happy. I'm with you. I agree with you on this point right here. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing this year. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad sign, because if you look at this on a game-by-game basis, 2 games, it was Baylor and the Oklahoma State game where we got blown out, had no chance. All these other games, basically 50-50 football games, even the Kansas State. If we would have held them on that 4th and 8, we could have tied it and won the game on that. So all these other games are 50-50 games, and we just haven't figured out how to win those 50-50 games. Stupid mistakes and, even bad luck, bounce of the ball, that interception that Deggy threw on the first series, just a tad behind Winston Wright Jr., bounces off his face mask, boom, interception, Kansas State. So some of it is just a bad bounce of the ball, and then others is just straight up mistakes.
Yeah, and Chris, if you don't mind me jumping in, the issue that I think I have and a lot of fans have is that I don't see any improvement on the field at all. I can't see anything that's gotten better from the day one when Neil Brown came in to right now. And that's a problem. And, for someone that preaches so much about fundamentals and doing things the right way, I mean, we're like one of the least fundamentally sound teams that I've seen this year, honestly. Things like blocking, clock management, penalties, all these things fall on the coaching staff. All these things fall on Neil Brown. And he acts like it's just like he doesn't understand what's happening. It's coaching.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will say this, though. I do think there is a bit of an increase from 2019 to this year, 2019 to this year, because if you look back at the 2019, that was a really bad team. They were not losing close football games. They were getting blown out pretty much consistently, and somehow we got 5 wins. Last year, we overachieved, and we actually lucked out in not having to play Oklahoma as well. So a lot of things factored in, and it got our expectations higher, and including myself, I predicted West Virginia to go 8-4, 9-3, and I think we didn't realize what last year was, and we had an elite defense, and we lost a lot of pieces from that elite defense. And our defense is still good this year, but we're not turning people over like we were last year, and that's what kept us in ball games last year. And the talent is getting better and better, but when he got here in 2019, we almost had no talent. And we're still at a point to where it's not great. It's better than 2019. Next year, when that recruiting class, that's when we'll actually tell what he can do with talent. That's why I'm trying to tell people, if it turns out that Neil Brown isn't the right fit for West Virginia, we have to make that decision after next year. We have to see what he does with that top 25 recruiting class. That, and if we fire him now, that recruiting class will probably dissolve, and we're starting all over with no talent. See what I'm saying? If you fire him, at least have the talent to where you're not starting over from the bottom again.
Yeah, a couple things, Chris. I mean, I would agree with you about the recruiting class, except that Neil Brown doesn't really play young players, especially the skilled players. So these young players like Caden Prather has clearly should have been playing this year, and for some reason he is just now getting some playing time. Neil Brown is clearly cares more about experience than necessarily skill, and I just don't see him playing any of these young players for another year or two at least, and I just don't see it. And so I guess what I'm saying is that there's really no light at the end of the tunnel here with Neil Brown for me. I don't see any excitement in the program, and I don't see any of these young players really helping the team right now.
Well, see, the thing that I understand what you're saying as far as him not playing young players, and I'm going to mention Garrett Green in specific because he even admitted coming into the regular season or into fall practice, he admitted he wasn't where he was supposed to be. The coach set a standard. You need to be at this level, whatever he's talking about, practice, weightlifting, drills, whatever it may be. You need to be at this level if you're going to start or have this many minutes in the game. And Garrett Green said he knew that. He knew where the bar was. He knew where he needed to be, and he didn't get there. And that's why he didn't start. And that's why he wasn't getting the minutes that we all thought he was going to get. Now, personally, I don't think Garrett Green's ready to start. His read progression is almost non-existent right now, and he has a little bit of issues as far as ball security. Now, he's an electric player. Don't get me wrong. Dynamic, electric, makes fantastic plays with his feet. Kind of reminds you of Pat White, but he's got to be able to read the defense a little bit better. And I know a lot of people will get on to Jarek Daggy about that, but our offensive line is not good right now. That's the biggest issue that me personally that I have with West Virginia that I'm not liking. I think our offensive line should be better than what they are right now. So that's the one thing we better we better get fixed in the offseason, or next year is going to be a very long season. I think everything else is fine, to be honest with you. I think the defense, for as many athletes as we lost, doing great. The most points we gave up was to Baylor. Everybody else, maybe Kansas State was the second most. I don't know. But I think they've done solid. And I think Daggy, as far as having a bad offensive line and hardly any rushing game, and that kind of goes back to the offensive line, because we saw last year, Letty Brown, he's a pretty good running back when he has holes. This year, he's not a patient runner, so he's more like a see the hole and hit it. There's no hole to hit. He's not patient. He gets hit for a loss. So our running game's not there, and that's kind of put more pressure on Jarrett Daggy. He's forcing things. He's making reads quicker than what he should. But you know what? He's still last time I checked now, I'm not sure as far as after the Kansas State game, but before the Kansas State game, I know he led the Big 12 in passing yards, and he was top 3 in passing percentage. I know he has issues with interceptions because he does force the ball sometimes, but I think he's doing the best he can with the offensive line that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I disagreed with everything you said pretty much there, Chris. Sorry, man. Deggy, to me, has regressed. He's gotten much worse. He's a statue in the pocket. He can't throw downfield at all.
He's always been a statue, though.
His pocket presence is maybe the worst I've seen as far as reading, like feeling when defenders are about to sack him. He takes sacks way too easily, and he can't escape pressure. And, you talked about the offensive line. Well, the offensive line is bad, but maybe not. Maybe it's just that Deggy has zero ability to escape.
What about the running game?
What's that?
Why is the running game bad then? Did Letty Brown get bad?
I don't think there's anything wrong with the running game. Letty Brown is, it's probably falls on play calling. I just don't see our offensive line as being that bad. We have very good players. I think that's one of those things that West Virginia fans do. They say, well, anytime our team's struggling, it's the offensive line, because West Virginians, for some reason, they don't like to blame just one player. They like to say, it's the offensive line. Well, who specifically on the offensive line is struggling? Let's talk about that individual who's struggling, because it's not the whole offensive line.
Well, the bigger names are the ones that are struggling the most. Is like Doug Nestor, Wyatt Millum, Frazier, especially with this. That snap cost us the Oklahoma game. That was probably the maddest I've been all season. We had a chance. I believe that was the game-winning field goal we were driving for, and he snaps it to the side or over his head or something. And I was like, I knew that was going to happen. And it's stupid stuff like that, missed assignments, guys running free, stuff like that. I don't know if they're out of position, bad technique, or if they're not meshing, but something isn't clicking right now on the offensive line.
Okay, yeah, so let's talk about, let's say the offensive line is terrible. Why does Matt Moore still have a job? What exactly has he done?
I agree with that.
Years?
Yes.
And this is another issue that I have with Neil Brown, is that really he's only hired his friends as assistant coaches. And the assistant coaches are not very good. They've produced zero results. And so, like you said, our running game is statistically has struggled in the 3 years that Brown's been there. And why is Matt Moore still employed? I think the issue is that Neil Brown is just kind of a wimp. He doesn't want to fire his friends. He kind of has control of the locker room, kind of doesn't. I just don't see him as a real leader.
I agree about Matt Moore and the offensive line, and I think in the offseason a change will be made there, because it has to. This is one of the worst offensive lines I've seen in nearly 20 years of watching West Virginia football. So I actually completely agree with that. But I think his other assistant coaches are pretty good. Now, we need to find an offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, huge needs in the offseason. So I think we'll really find out how good of a decision maker as far as personnel goes in the offseason here. Do we get an offensive coordinator? If we do, who is it? And he's going to have a lot of eyeballs on him for that decision. And it's going to, I think that'll be the biggest decision in the offseason for West Virginia, who our offensive coordinator and who can fix that offensive line, because those are our two biggest needs. I think right now we're kind of in the hearsay thing because last year we weren't really having these issues, and then all of a sudden this year we are having these issues, and maybe he didn't see this coming. Now that he sees it this year, and if he doesn't make changes in the offseason, then we can criticize that a little bit more. But I got to see what he does in the offseason more because, nobody really saw this one coming, including himself.
No, I'm going to criticize him now, man. I don't see any of his assistants that deserve to have their jobs. Maybe I think Jordan Leslie has been effective as a defensive line coach. The fact that he let Jamil Adai go to Georgia, though, was a tremendously big mistake, and he just kind of let it happen. These other assistants,
can you explain that process real quick? I'm kind of confused about that, like letting it happen. Like, how did that all go down?
Yeah, exactly. So what happened is that he made Jamil Adai and Jordan Leslie co-defensive coordinators. Jamil Adai had big time programs like Georgia knocking at his door, wanting him to come there, offering him more money. And Jamil Adai was, as far as rapport with his players, he's a former West Virginia player. He is a big time recruiter, and they let him walk away to Georgia instead of letting him become the defensive coordinator and giving him a raise. So again, it was just a terrible decision. And
wait a minute. What title does he hold at Georgia?
He's the safeties coach.
Okay.
There. Yeah, but again, that's a step up from being co-defensive coordinator at West Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far as the rest of his assistants, I just don't see it. Matt Moore obviously is the first that should go. Obviously, Gerard Parker, I don't really understand him, the wide receivers coach. And
I was about to mention him. That too, I agree with that.
The fact that he made him the offensive coordinator, the co-offensive coordinator. It's a problem. This guy's never been an offensive coordinator anywhere else during his career. Neil Brown is sharing the play calling duties with Parker, and it doesn't make any sense. No other program in the country has their head coach calling plays. That's just not how it happens. They have offensive coordinators, and for some reason, Neil Brown. And the problem is that the media in West Virginia allows it to happen. Nobody questions. Hey, Neil, why don't you have an offensive coordinator? They just let it happen.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah,
our media in West Virginia is extremely, extremely weak, and I think that's what people are used to, and that's a lot of reasons why people have such a problem with me, is because they're so used to that weak, neutered media in West Virginia that doesn't ask the tough questions. It doesn't demand more.
Yeah, I agree. There is definitely a place for news outlets like yourself. I'll give you credit there. So I want to talk about this real quick. Some of the stories you've written. This latest one, it's titled "Sideline Spat Signals Troubles in West Virginia Locker Room," and you were talking about the incident between Daggy and Neil Brown on the sideline whenever there was frustration in the Kansas State game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happened afterwards in the locker room? Was that figured out, or is there still tension?
I have no clue what happened in the locker room between Daggy and Brown. I think that because they're so closed off and they're so secretive about everything, but obviously Jared Daggy is supposed to be the team leader. He's a fifth-year senior. And if he's walking away from Neil Brown while Neil Brown's trying to talk to him in front of his whole team on national television, that's a really bad sign. And that's the point that I was trying to make.
I got you. Well, whenever I read that, the thing that popped in my head is you see that a lot especially whenever a team is having a bad game. You'll see the quarterback frustrated, and the quarterback and the coach will yell at each other. And of course, not just at West Virginia, but wherever it's happening, the media will point it out and be like, hey, those guys have a beef now because, he wasn't showing respect or they argued, whatever. But usually that gets figured out in the locker room afterwards or in practice afterwards. I think that's more of like heat in the moment. Both parties were frustrated, and, nobody likes losing. We already know that. Nobody likes losing, and it was more of heat of the moment type of situation. So that's what I got out of that situation. I don't think there's really like anything more to it as far as Daggy all of a sudden is quitting on the team or quitting on the coach or something like that. If that were the case, he wouldn't be starting.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Deggy was really mad at Brown. Brown is literally the only coach in the country that would believe in Jared Deggy like he has. He's had no choice.
He's had no choice.
Well, I think he has had a choice. Garrett Green has not been given a real opportunity when he comes in. This package that Neil Brown has made up for Garrett Green, it's awful. It doesn't give him any chance to throw the ball, and it really all he does is he doesn't really allow him to be a passer. He does the run options, the read options, and then I don't even know if Garrett Green needs to be able to be a good passer or make good reads. He's super elusive, he's super slippery, and he's a winner, which is what Jarret Doege is not and will never be. Jarret Doege has proven over and over and over again that he's not a winner and that he doesn't have it.
Well, we weren't saying that last year, especially when he took over for Austin Kendall. Remember whenever Austin Kendall was throwing 3 and 4 interceptions a game and we were asking for Jarret Doege towards the middle of 2019? And then last year, he did pretty good. He struggled in the Army game. Maybe that was the start of a mental situation where the game was getting to him. I don't know. And then this year, he's definitely digressed as far as making good reads and putting the ball where it needs to be. Now, he's still throwing the ball all over the place, getting a ton of yards. And we saw in the Iowa State, he's capable of making pretty good touchdown passes. It's just when it comes down to that split second of making that decision, for whatever reason, it's not there right now. And I don't know how, he corrects that. Now, is Garrett Green the answer to that? I don't think so, because we've seen him as well. He's not good at decision making either right now. And I'm scared he's going to fumble the ball whenever he's back there. Now, when he does get loose and there's open field in front of him, I get excited. It's when he's in the pocket and has that ball, kind of down towards his side, and you see that edge rusher coming up, ready to punch the ball out. That's when you get nervous. He's got to learn to protect the ball more if he wants the starting position at West Virginia. He has to.
Yeah, I don't see Jarret Doege as an answer to any of the problems that West Virginia has. He's not going to win games.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But there's no answer. There isn't any answer right now.
We don't know that because Garrett Green has not been given a real chance to throw the ball. Now, every time that he comes in, all it is run play after run play. Most of the time, Tony Mathis is in the game, and Lenny Brown is not even in the game for some reason. And I just truly believe that Neil Brown has not given him an opportunity. He changes the game. Garrett Green changes the game when he's in. He makes it difficult for the defense to key on the running back because he's so capable of running. Jarret Doege does nothing to help the running game, and I think that's probably a lot of the reason why the running game is so bad is because Jarret Doege can't keep the ball. He can't take off on his own.
Well, why was the running game so great last year then?
I don't know that it was great last year. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have the answer for you. I don't know that it was that much better than it currently is.
He was Letty was pretty much going for 100 every game.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference would be. All I know is that Garrett Green would be a far better option this year, and the fact that we've basically thrown away a whole season on Jarret Doege just is mind blowing to me that people are okay with it.
I think and I agree with you to some extent. I think in theory, when you think about it, okay, we have a bad offensive line, and our running game hasn't been great this year. We know that, right? So logically, hey, Garrett Green is a mobile quarterback. It gives the defense somebody else to think about as far as running the football. And, our offensive line, maybe they don't have to hold their blocks as long because he's more elusive and, he can make big plays out of broken plays. So, yeah, it seems like a good idea. It's just whenever he's on the field, he doesn't make those reads and he doesn't protect the ball like he needs to. I think, honestly, if he proves that he can make those reads and protects the ball better, I think those two issues are what's keeping him from having more time in the football game. Now, I do hope that Neil Brown puts him in more because we saw a good dose of him. Was it what was it, the Iowa State game, TCU game, and he did pretty good. I think his role in that scenario is excellent. I just don't think he's ready to start right now. I think he should be used more in the offense, but he's not ready to lead a team right now.
Why isn't that Green doesn't have the same package as Jarrett Deggy when he comes in? Why do we have this whole different offense when Garrett Green comes in? Garrett Green is an accomplished passer. He was an Elite 11 quarterback in high school. He can throw the ball downfield. There's no sense in him having this wildcat type offense when he comes in. He's capable, and so I don't think Neil Brown has given him a real shot.
Well, I think the biggest issue with Garrett Green when it comes to that aspect is the speed of the game. I don't think he's caught up to the speed of the college football game yet. Now, can he catch up? Absolutely. I believe he's very athletic. And like you mentioned all of his accomplishments, he is an accomplished passer. He just hasn't caught up to the speed of this particular game yet. Now, one more offseason, and maybe next year he's caught up, and next year we're looking, whoa, Garrett Green, wow, where did this guy come from? And he's making his reads. He gets the ball out of his hands quicker. And then by doing that, he's able to also run the ball because the defense has to respect his arm as well. Because right now, defenses aren't respecting his arm because he's not cut up to the speed of the game as far as reading his routes and stuff. So they're just going to key on him and key on him and key on him until, we don't want him to have a concussion and stuff like that, get knocked out of the games. And that's what's going to happen, if he starts football games right now. I'm not saying he's not a future starter at West Virginia. I'm saying right now he's not caught up with the speed of the college football game when it comes to the passing game.
To me, he looks like he's definitely caught up to the speed of the game. Anytime I see him take off a run, he gets the ball downfield. He moves the ball. I know people talk about the fumbles. I think he's actually just lost like one fumble this year, or is it two? I don't see him as ball security as being a major issue to him. The difference between him and Jarrett Deggy, and this is a huge, huge difference for quarterbacks and for leaders of the team, is that he has it. He's a competitor. He wants to win. Jarrett Deggy, I don't see him as somebody that wants to win. He just doesn't. He doesn't have it. He's not a leader, and that should be clear to everyone watching the games.
Well, I disagree with that last aspect as far as him not wanting to win. I think that article that you put out as far as, the sideline spat, I think that shows to that. He gets frustrated. He does not like losing. He wants to win. He's a winner. So in those type of games, frustration sets in, and he's mad that his football team is losing. So that's the only thing that I would disagree with you as far as what you just said right there. I do think he has a very competitive spirit, and he does want to win. It's he doesn't.
I didn't see it as him being competitive. I saw him being a big baby and Neil Brown trying to coach him and him walking away from him. That looked like something that a 3-year-old would do to me.
Well,
it didn't look like somebody that was competitive.
I said earlier,
if you're a competitive quarterback, if you're a competitive player, you are listening to your trying to make things better. He's walked away like he doesn't care. He's not I've never seen anything that he's done, and I've watched Jarrett Deggy a lot. I've never seen anything that he's done that made me feel like, yeah, man, this guy really wants to win. He just doesn't.
I disagree with you on that one. Now, as far as athlete goes, I don't think he's, an elite athlete, the future of West Virginia. I think he's the best we got right now. That's it. And I want Garrett Green to be better, but every time he's in the game, he looks like he's lost until he tucks it and runs. You can't do that every single play. You have to make the defense respect the passing game as well. And that's the biggest issue with Garrett Green. And as far as the sideline spat with Neil Brown, like I said earlier, you go around the country and watch different games and watch the losing team, their quarterback, that pretty much happens 9 times out of 10 because quarterbacks don't like losing. They're probably the most competitive out of all the position players in the entire team because they know they lead the team. Where they go, the team goes. So they know it's on there. They know it's on them. They're frustrated, and they just want to take a deep breath and try to do better next time. And I'm sure it got situated in the locker room as well. I mean, we see it all over college football.
Yeah, we do. And I guess that's possible. To me, again, Jarrett Deggy, I can't imagine that people still look at him and are probably like, "Wow, this guy is going to get it done. He's going to lead us to a chance to even a winning record." And the fact that he might be coming back next year and that Neil Brown will probably allow him to start again is frightening. I mean, I can't believe that is a possibility, and it looks like it's going to happen.
Right.
Because he's certainly not going to go to the NFL. No other team would want Jarrett Deggy. So what other options does he have? And so it's like he's going to be back.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have Garrett Green, who's a competitor. Goose Crowder, who is supposed to be a fantastic passer, and then Nico Marchio, who, I mean, man, you watch him. Have you watched him this year?
Yes. I even watched that. Well, they were down, with 2 minutes left or something like that, and they were down by 3 possessions. That was amazing.
Yeah, he's the opposite of Jarrett Deggy. He's the ultimate winner. And, I mean, I just can't imagine him sitting behind Jarrett Deggy next year and just watching him fumble around out on the field. I just can't imagine how frustrating that would be for him when he knows he could be helping the team.
Well, let me ask you this. So whenever people ask Neil Brown, hey, what's holding Garrett Green back right now, he says technique. Do you know what he's talking about as far as what Garrett Green maybe does have down, or maybe what he's saying he doesn't have down? What's he talking about when he's saying the technique is off?
Well, he's talking about his ability to make reads, and I have no idea what Neil Brown is telling Garrett Green, but I imagine it's mostly telling him not to pass the ball because he's not confident in him passing the ball. What I would do if I were him, I'd let him go out and be Garrett Green. You saw when Garrett Green, that first game, I think it was last year, his first game that he played, Garrett Green made an amazing run, got downfield, and celebrated a little bit. And Neil Brown just got up in his face like, no, we don't do that around here. And Garrett Green is a competitor. He wants to be out there playing and winning. And I feel like Neil Brown just hasn't let that happen.
How much more time would you give Neil Brown right now?
I would give Neil Brown. Okay, so here's what I would do if I were Shane Lyons. I would sit him down.
Shane Lyons has got to go. I know you were laying the foundation, but that's just my 2 cents. I think he needs to be gone.
Well, yeah, maybe. And the reason I would say he needs to be gone is because the contract extension and the raise that he gave Neil Brown at 10-10. It just doesn't make any sense why he would do that. I just don't see why he did that last year. So, but anyway, back to Neil Brown. What I would do is I would say, as Shane Lyons, I would say we need to do something about our assistants. We need to, restructure our whole staff. To be honest, Jordan Leslie again, I feel like should stay. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Travis Trickett seems to be the tight ends coach and receivers coach. He seems to be a really good recruiter. I would certainly keep Mike Joseph. And I think the rest of the staff I'd probably get rid of. I would say that he would have to get rid of and start with a new staff next year. And then I would do him next year. I wouldn't fire him this year, but I would probably see how it goes. And then, next year, if he doesn't do well, I'd fire him. I don't think he's earned. He's 15-17 right now. That's failure.
Hold on real quick before we go on. Thank you. Dadgummit. I can't wait to get internet, man. I got to do all my live shows through my phone, and I got to swipe down and all that stuff. Stinking. And I live on this road where nobody services it. AT&T, nobody. And I finally found a local company. They're going to lay fiber. Anyways, I'm throwing a fit right now.
Hey, I just saw this. I saw this poll you guys are running. It says, should WVU come out against Brad Smith articles? What's that about?
More heat.
Here's the issue. WVU, they certainly don't like me. They've made that abundantly clear that they don't like me because I'm asking the questions and I'm demanding answers that their media does not do. And so, they don't have to come out against me because, I assume that they don't like me. They've told me they don't like me.
Hold on real quick. Thank you, Anthony Zappin, $10 super chat. He says, Marshall in a bowl game and West Virginia home for the holidays. Go Herd, just kidding. Let's go Mountaineers. Neil Brown is a garbage coach. So there's his 2 cents. Yeah, there are some fans out there that do not like Neil Brown right now. So I kind of took that in a flash. Can you read that again? I didn't really soak that poll in quite well.
You talking to me?
Yeah, the poll that you read off. I can't see it because I'm on live.
It said, should WVU come out against Brad Smith articles?
Yeah, I think they already have, haven't they?
I don't know that they've officially. They've told me that they've hinted that they don't like me, so that's fine. Yeah. I wouldn't like me either. I'm revealing things about them that I'm sure that they don't want to be revealed.
Yeah, hold on. See, this is what I'm talking about, having fun. Hold on. I'm going to pronounce your name right. Thank you, Sins of YT, maybe YouTube, I don't know. He says, I'm sorry to say this, but we probably won't make a bowl game if we lose the Well, of course we won't make a bowl game if we lose to Texas. Why not give Green a shot in the Kansas game? So first of all, if we lose to Texas, that more than guarantees, well, probably more than guarantees that we don't make a bowl, because at best we finish 5-7, which I know sometimes they do give a shot to 5-7 teams, but that's they probably won't choose West Virginia. Just my opinion. And then giving Green a chance in the Kansas game, I think if anything, you'd give Green a chance in the Texas game. As far as in the mindset that he's in, if you're going to give him a chance, it would be the Texas game, not the Kansas game. That way, you have more than one game to give him a chance instead of just the last game of the season. Anyways, sorry, I'm just responding to a super chat. Anyways, so do you get along with the officials at West Virginia as far as the higher ups?
No, of course not. I mean, back when I first started doing this, I asked for credentials, and of course they denied it. And they don't really have a good explanation for it, other than hey, they don't say it, but it's very clear that they don't want me in the press conferences asking real questions. They're very, very comfortable letting Neil Brown and Bob Huggins answer these same questions over and over again that aren't challenging and don't provoke any thought. If you listen to the press conferences, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Neil Brown's press conference today. It's not even worth listening to. There's zero substance. Just like after a loss, you would think that the media would ask questions that the people that they represent want to hear. They don't ask anything. They don't ask any tough questions. And so, someone saying they prefer real journalism, fine. Real journalism, fine. If that's what real journalism is, that's fine. But I don't see that as real journalism. I see real journalism as people that are looking for answers and asking the questions that the people they represent want to know.
Okay, so I saw this article because, whenever I invited you on, of course, I wanted to dig up as many articles. That way I could ask you questions about, okay? So I saw this one article, and it says, Neil Brown dodged my question on Jarrett Deggy. Your question was, Coach, do you hope that Jarrett Deggy returns next season, or do you think it's time for the younger quarterbacks to step in? You didn't like his answer. His answer was, well, I'm worried about this week and this game against a really good Oklahoma State team. I'm not really thinking about next year. When the time arrives, we'll figure that out. But yeah, Deggy does have another year of eligibility left. What about that response did you not like?
I just feel like it's so status quo. It's so everybody already knew what he was going to say. It would have been nice to say, hey, listen, I have given this some thought. I don't know why this is sports. This isn't something huge that they can't just be honest about. He's thought about whether Jarrett Deggy's coming back next year. Why can't he talk about it? I don't understand.
Hey, hold on. Come on, guys. Come on, chat. I need y'all to hit the thumbs up. Even if you don't like Brad, even if you don't like me, it helps this particular show to hit the YouTube algorithm so we can get more people in here, more fan bases in here, so we can argue more. So when you hit the thumbs up, you're not saying you necessarily like me or you necessarily like Brad Smith. It just helps hit that YouTube algorithm. And I noticed we had 74 watching and only like 15 likes. So I had to say that. We need you to hit the like button to get more people in here.
They're loving it, man. You know they are.
Yeah. I just want more people in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm greedy sometimes. Yeah. I want to hit 100. Let's go, guys. Yeah. Come on. Let's see. This other story, was this a praise story? Or I'm kind of confused because you come off, I don't want to use the word hater because that's a generic term, but you don't like Jarrett Deggy too much. So you made this article Jarrett Doege will leave WVU as one of the leading passers in school history. Did you make that begrudgingly, or I just had to do that because it's probably going to happen, or did you like him at the time? What went on behind that?
Yeah, it was kind of shocking to me to look up the stats and see like where he's at statistically, because he's so bad that it's shocking that he's that he'll go down, especially if he comes back next year. He could be the top passer in West Virginia history. He'll pass possibly Geno Smith next year. And so, yeah, I was saying it, like, man, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that he's as, I guess, statistically productive as he's been.
Yeah, we've said it 1,000 times. His biggest issue is, you'll say 1,000 other things, but I think his biggest issue is his mobility and not being able to feel the pocket presence. But as far as actually making plays, when he's on his game, he can make the plays. But whenever that pocket collapses quicker than he'd like, that's when he has issues. And, of course, this year, we don't have a good offensive line, so he's struggling more than usual. Although, somehow, he's still leading the Big 12 in passing yards. So, I really don't know what to make of that. So, I saw here where you got to have a one-on-one with KJ Martin. Was that you or just one of your writers? Did you actually get to talk to him?
Yeah, that was several years ago, though.
No, that's fine. That's fine. How was that experience? I'm not really wanting to talk about what y'all talked about. How was the overall experience with KJ Martin is what I'm getting at.
Man, I feel like I go into interviews and I want to be real and I want to get real answers. And it seems in West Virginia, it's very hard to make that happen. And so KJ, when I talked to him, he was in Japan playing professionally at the time. And I don't know, man, it seemed like it was kind of very basic answers from him.
I got a question. Are you an undercover agent for Pitt University?
Is that for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
No, man. I grew up in West Virginia. I graduated from West Virginia. I am, blue and gold all the way.
Okay, I was just double checking. I had to, people were want me to ask that, so I had to ask it. So, on the record, Brad Smith is not an undercover agent for Pitt University. You heard it here first.
Rick Sanchez asked who Brad Smith is. Brad Smith is the most influential writer in the state of West Virginia right now.
He influences people getting mad.
No, it's not just that. I'm asking deep questions that matter. And I'm stirring the pot, which is not a bad thing.
Yes. You mentioned earlier, forgive me, I do have a bad memory sometimes. So you mentioned earlier where I commented, I don't know if it was Facebook or somewhere else, where I said, hey, man, you're just stirring the pot. Do you remember what article that was? I can't remember.
I don't remember which article it was, no.
Okay, I wish I remembered that because it made me raise my eyebrow, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, man, you're just trying to stir the pot. But, I mean, you've admitted it. That's what you do, and that's what you want to do. Some people don't like it. I've explained to people before you came on here that I don't have a problem with you. We disagree on a lot of things, and it really... I kind of don't understand people when they start saying, I hate that guy. Stuff like that. I'm like, I disagree with a lot of stuff you say, but that doesn't turn into, shut up, I hate you type of stuff. So it doesn't get to that extent for me. You see what I'm saying? What's one of the, let's see, how do I want to word this? Maybe just simply, what's one of the meanest things you've heard somebody say to you or about you?
I'm just thinking, man. Sorry.
Long list.
Here's the problem is that the thing that bothers me the most is that I put so much time into what I do and really work very hard at what I do. And when people just kind of reduce me to like a clickbait, I've seen people in here on your comments here that call me clickbait, or they say that I'm a tabloid writer or whatever. They have no idea how much time I've put in to being the best at what I am, and so it's to me, it's that hurts a little bit, I guess. But that stuff kind of rolls off me now.
I gotcha. So, how long have you been doing this?
3 years or so. Hey, and I think people who saying that I am clickbait for sure. And clickbait is not a bad thing. It is, it's been turned into like this negative thing. Clickbait, honestly, if you think about all the different social media sites that are out there, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if people realize how hard it is to get someone to stop scrolling and click on your article is a massively difficult thing to do. And for me to have the kind of success that I've had, and again, I'm one person. I am the voice of MoTown. I'm one person who is beating these big companies like 24/7 and Rivals and all these other places. I'm getting more clicks than them. And if that's clickbait, that's fine. I do have kind of out there headlines, and I do make it as sexy and as fun as possible. And to me, that's what has made me successful.
Okay, so whenever you make your title, I've never understood that. So if you make a title and your video has something to do with that title, even if it's not completely wrapped around that title, in my head, I'm like, how is that clickbait? If you're talking about something that's related to the title, then you're talking about something that's related to the title. Now, I understand it when somebody titled their article and they just titled it for somebody, oh, what's that? And they talk about, selling cars or whatever. I understand something like that. But I think, I do agree with you. I think the clickbait term is starting to be overused. Like, it's being used for, you're just trying to get views. Well, yeah, I'm trying to get views, but I'm talking about exactly what I said I was going to talk about. Yes. So,
yeah, I had one of the writers. They were saying, well, you're just in it for click that. Well, newsflash, that's what every writer is in it for. Every single company or every single media outlet has a webpage, and everybody wants as many clicks as possible. I'm just the best at getting it. And these people that spend so much time, these people, journalists that go into Morgantown and they sit through Neil Brown's boring press conferences, I understand why they're mad at me. I'm beating them by myself from the comfort of my home in Florida. And so I understand why they dislike me.
Have you heard anything regarding to what I've been talking about, West Virginia to the ACC? You hearing anything up there in Morgantown? My sources that I have for that story are members of ACC coaching staff, and they're not necessarily in the state of West Virginia. So I was curious to see if you're hearing anything up there in Morgantown about it.
Yeah, just 1 second. Trey just said, no way you're generating more clicks than 24/7 Sports. Absolutely am. You can check. I can certainly provide you with all kinds of evidence and Rivals as well. Your question about to the ACC, I haven't seen anything about going to the ACC except for you.
Okay.
I've clicked on a couple of your videos and seen it. I don't know. To be honest with you, Chris, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know.
A lot of people don't believe it.
What's that?
I said a lot of people don't believe me. I'm cool with it. I understand that.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, not just because I think it's great for West Virginia, but I think it'd be good for you that you prove people wrong. So I hope that you're absolutely right about it.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, I don't know. I think there would be a little bit more smoke coming out about it. And so I just don't know what to believe about it. Hopefully it's true.
Yeah. Well, I trust these guys immensely because they're part of these coaching staffs that's hearing about all this stuff. So I'm like, man, something breaks. So I trust what they're saying, but I'm not hearing anything from any news outlets. So I'm still waiting on that. But I mean, they're pretty good sources. So we'll see what happens. But if something changes and it turns out to not be true, of course I'll have to make a video eating crow. I've done that before many times. It happens. It's part of the game. And I feel your pain on producing or trying to get clicks, and people try to turn that into a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's what we do. That's why we do this. We don't make something so nobody watches it, so we can watch it ourselves 100 times and say, hey, we got 100 watches because we watched it. Of course, we want other people to watch it. I saw something earlier where somebody said something to the effect of West Virginia hates Brad Smith because Brad Smith bashes West Virginia all the time.
Yeah,
do you feel like you bash West Virginia all the time?
real quick about the clickbait thing too. It's almost like, a restaurant putting an ad out with like a really gross looking food and saying, "Hey, I want you to come to my restaurant." That's not what they do. They put delicious looking food out, and then people come there because they see what there is to offer. So again, that clickbait argument to me is it's such a poor example. Anyway, you asked about. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It was something to the effect. I don't know who it was, but they said West Virginia hates Brad Smith because.
Oh.
And I'm not quoting this. It was something to this effect because Brad Smith bashes West Virginia University. Do you feel like you bash West Virginia University?
Well, again, West Virginians are so conditioned to only seeing the bright, rosy side of West Virginia sports. And so when someone is honest and when someone is giving the real side of the story, then obviously I'm going to seem like this awful person that only hates West Virginia sports, which is so far from the truth. I like I told you earlier, West Virginia sports has been a big part of my entire life. I want nothing more than West Virginia sports to be great. And so to say that I only hate on West Virginia sports, well, lately in football, yeah, I have. I have been hating only on West Virginia sports because there hasn't been very many positive things to say about West Virginia football. And so I can see why somebody would say that. Is it true? Absolutely not.
So if somebody, now I've seen a few comments in the comment section saying they've never heard of you. So if somebody goes over to the Voice of MoTown, looks up your articles, what should they expect?
They should expect real journalism, real insight, not any of this nonsense that they get from any other local outlet. I put a lot of thought into what I do. I care about what I put out, and I feel like it's the best product you're going to get in West Virginia.
Okay, one more question. Do you think my channel, Golden Blue Dude, is a trash channel?
I don't know that I have enough experience watching it to know that. I don't think so. I like what you do. When I've listened to your show, it sounds like you're telling the truth and that you're being honest. And I mean, to me, that's good. And it's far better than anything else that you're going to get in West Virginia. I like Tony Caridi. These other guys, the podcasts are terrible. The radio shows are terrible. The newspaper articles are terrible. None of this stuff is good. So anything that is going, that is very different than what has happened in West Virginia, I'm all about. So be a Golden Blue Dude fan.
So you might have already said this, but were you born in West Virginia like me?
Yep, I'm born in West Virginia. I lived my first 30 years there, and I graduated from West Virginia University.
So for people that think that you just hate West Virginia University, that's a little hard to believe, seeing as how you were actually born in West Virginia. Maybe you bash them more than what I would like you to. That's just my personal preference. But to say that I think that you just don't like West Virginia University and that's all you do, maybe if you weren't born in the state of West Virginia, I would say yes. But since you were born, I would have to say I don't believe that's true.
I care, man. I care. I want West Virginia University to be the best that it could possibly be, and I'm not currently happy with how things are going. And I want to use my voice to make whatever improvements or whatever impact I can have on the university in a positive way.
I got you. Well, even though I disagree with, if I have to put a percentage on it, even though I disagree with probably about 70% what you put out, it's still entertaining. I mean, even whenever I disagree with it and it makes me want to pull my hair out, it's sometimes it's like that car wreck that you see happen. You shouldn't look, but you can't help it. You rubberneck and it's, it is what it is. And sometimes I'm like, why? Why did he even? And my concern is the athletes. I'm like, man, what if they just saw what Brad Smith wrote and they're like, well, I was thinking about going to West Virginia, but since that reporter keeps trashing on West Virginia, I ain't going to West Virginia. Stuff like that enters my head. So You know, you have bad service. You have bad service right now.
Brown, I think 99.9.
I'm gonna have to help.
Close.
Man.
Can I voice kids real quick? Somebody asked me about.
Well, hold on. You hit some type of zone where you were cutting in and out really, really bad.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. So say what you were saying.
Somebody asked me, or somebody said, one of the comments, Thomas Highlander said 98% of my articles are about how much I hate Deggy and Brown, and I just said that it's more like 99.9%.
Yeah. See? At least you realize it. The bottom line is, your opinion of Deggy is you don't like him. You think he's a bad quarterback, and you think that Garrett Green and Will Crowder could do better. That's the gist of your articles.
I think we've wasted a lot of time on Jarrett Deggy.
Yeah.
And what have we gained? Jarrett Deggy is not the future of the program. Garrett Green or Will Crowder could be the future of the program.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. Will Crowder, I have no idea. I haven't really seen. I know he played in the LIU game a little bit, but I didn't watch that game. I'm down here in South Carolina, so I can't watch every single game. And of course, the Cupcake game, that's not going to be on cable or whatever. So I haven't really got to see much of him. But what I've seen from Garrett Green is he just looks really well green right now, and he needs more in-game reps. I do agree with that, but I don't think he's caught up to the speed of game enough to lead a football team. Now, hopefully next year he is, because man, if he can get that passing game right, and then you throw in being able to tuck it and run the way he is, he's an electric player. So I really hope that he does catch up to the game as far as the passing game goes, because the dude is an athlete. We'll see what Jarrett Deggy. I know Jarrett Deggy's coming back. I don't know if he's going to start. Hell, we still got two games left in this season before we think about next season. So let's see if we can get to a bowl first, and then think about who's going to start next year. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good. I wish that Jarrett Deggy would not play the last two games. I don't think it's in the best interest of the program. But I know that's not going to. They're not going to start Garrett Green, and they're not going to start Goose Crowder right now. But again, I can't understand how somebody could be okay with Jarrett Deggy as the quarterback. I don't see it.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't think I don't think we have an option at this moment in time. But we'll see in the future. We'll have to agree to disagree. What's your prediction about the Texas game? What do you think happens, real quick?
I think we probably lose Texas.
Firmly disagree with that.
I think we probably win at Kansas. I think we go. We split for the rest of the season.
Real quick, my take, and then I'm going to get off here, and we'll let you go. So after the TCU win, I said we're going to split the home game between Iowa State and Oklahoma State. We're going to lose at Kansas State. I warned people of that. I said, but we will beat Texas, and we will beat Kansas. And this was back whenever I thought Texas was still halfway decent, and we'll finish 6-6. Well, we split the two games, lost to Kansas State right on schedule, and I think we beat Texas and Kansas. And Texas will be without Bijan Robinson. It'll be in Morgantown, even if there's only 30,000 fans there. Hey, it's not in Austin. That's all that matters. And West Virginia has the better defense. So, yeah, I think we win out, get to a bowl. Depends on who we're matched up with, whether we win the bowl or not. So, we'll see what happens.
I hope you're right, man.
Hey, man. So, if I asked you to come on the show again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sure would you say yes?
I'm a 10, man. You're my guy, man. I'm a fan, so I'll be here anytime. And I'm going to predict, Gold Blue Dude, that when I post this, that you're going to break records for most listens.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Do it, man.
We've already had a great show, man. I don't know if you noticed that or not. A lot of views, so let's break some records while we're at it. How about that?
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, have a good night. Holler at me and in the future, maybe right after the Kansas game, and see whose prediction is correct. How about that?
Sounds good, man. Let's go Mountaineers.
All right, let's go Mountaineers. See you, Brad.
All right,
man. So there you go. Brad Smith, we disagreed pretty much on everything. Man, I wanted to trash talk him more, but dadgummit, didn't get around to it. Maybe next time. When my score predictions are correct and his are not. Okay, so real quick, before I get off here, because we had a few more, I got to do the drawing real quick, but we had a couple more super chats, so I got to write some more names down, so give me 1 second, and we will draw that real quick. So, let me get you down. Got you. Hopefully I pronounced this name right. We'll see. Good luck to everybody, by the way. Let's see. And... okay, Anthony Zappin. Is that Zappin or Zapin? It looks like Zappin. We'll go with Zappin. I wasn't really expecting anybody to super chat in, so I wasn't prepared for this part. But I promise, I'll be quick. So the grand prize is full-size helmet for the team of your choice, and a $50 gift certificate, not gift certificate, prize worth $50 from tristatewoodsketch.com. And that prize is sponsored by Jeff Grimm, a great supporter of Gold and Blue Dude. So, special shout out to him. Hopefully he's watching. I know he's in Mexico, and he can't really watch that much Gold and Blue Dude. Sorry, y'all are watching me cut paper, but, you know, I want every entry to count. Almost done. Almost done. Oh, and I already see the comments where some people are saying they're going to unsubscribe to me just because I had Brad Smith on there. You know, that's up to you, but come on. We were just debating and having arguments and stuff like that. That doesn't mean I'm a pro Brad Smith guy. I don't hate the guy, but I'm definitely not affiliated with him. So if you want to unsubscribe because of that, that's on you. Missing a lot of great content. So here we go, guys. Here we go. There's all the names. And I cut the last three in there. Let me mix them up real quick. And we are about to draw a winner. And I'm not going to look. I'm just mixing them up right now. I'm not aiming for a certain... Alright, so just so you know, see, I have my glasses off, so you know I'm not looking. So I'm going to mix them up, building up suspense. That's what I'm doing. I am building up suspense. Alright, here we go. Alright, let me find a name. Make sure it's not the tag to the hat. Alright. We have a winner. Holy crap. Holy crap. The winner was not expecting this one. The winner of the full-size helmet and the $50 prize from tristatewoodsketch.com. It looks like I will be sending out a Georgia helmet to the winner, because the winner is none other than Raj. There you go, guys. There's your winner, Raj. And I actually got to hang out with Raj at Uncle Lou's whenever we did a Georgia watch. And if you go back and watch the video where I was mad about Texas Tech beating West Virginia, that's Raj. The person that stuck his head over my shoulder and said, "Go Dogs," really loud, that's Raj. Hey, Raj, you won a full-size helmet, a Georgia full-size helmet, and $50 prize, tristatewoodsketch.com. Congratulations. But don't worry, everybody. We're going to have some more contests, stuff like that. kind of figured I was going to send out a Georgia helmet, though, because I have a lot of Georgia fans subscribed, surprisingly. So that doesn't super surprise me. But congratulations, Raj. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'll get with you through email, something like that, and we'll order you that helmet and get you a Christmas present for your family. And, you know, trust it, because you can do stuff like, look, check this out, Raj. I don't know if you're watching. Stuff like that. So you'll be able to get you a nice picture for your sweetheart. And if you're not watching, I'll find a way to contact you and let you know that you won a full-size Georgia helmet. And we'll figure out what the next contest is going to be. I take hints from my subscribers and super chat people that chip in, stuff like that, because you're the one that's donating to Golden Blue Dude. So I want the prize to be something that y'all want. So y'all let me know about that. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the live show. I did, even though I disagree with Brad Smith a lot. But I don't hate him. A lot of people say they hate him. I don't understand that, because most of the people that say they hate him don't know him. How can you hate somebody if you don't know him? I don't know. But I'm going to get off here. I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. We're going to have him back on after the season to see if his prediction is correct or if my prediction is correct. All right? So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, y'all have a good rest of your week. And the college football rankings should be coming out soon. So the live show going off here right in time for y'all to watch college football rankings. See, I'm thinking about y'all. Always. I'm always thinking about y'all and your college football needs. Anyways, y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for another regular video tomorrow, because, you know me, videos every single day. Oh, we did miss the playoff rankings. Dang, how long did we go? Crap. Sorry, guys. Anyways, I'm out. Going to Blue Dude out. Y'all have a good night.